How's it going? You know, one of the things we like to do on this channel is make it a channel of firsts. As I'm aging, moving on in my life, I'm trying to get things off my bucket list, things I've never tried before, and all the time I'm looking to do things for the first time. So what we're doing today is actually filling out two of these things. We are making lasagna for the first time, and then we're going to double down and we're going to make it in the Instant Pot. So, come along as we go ahead and try to make lasagna in the Instant Pot. Let's see how it turns out. Alright, so this recipe takes place in three phases. The first part is preparing the vegetarian part of this, so preparing the vegetables as a filler within the lasagna itself. The second part consists of making the cheese filling, and the last part is actually constructing the lasagna itself and preparing to put it in the Instant Pot. We'll start out with preparing the vegetables. So as we begin to prepare the vegetables, I'll be using a number of different methods to process them down into their finely chopped state. We'll start with 6 cloves of garlic, and I'll use this little garlic chopper tool I have for preparing that. Next is 1 medium onion, finely chopped, and I'll just do that the old-fashioned way. The next thing on the list are 2 medium carrots, finely chopped. Now I'll be using a mini food processor on this because of the consistency of carrots. They're very tough. They can stand up to the mini food processor's chopping, so we'll go ahead and use that. Next, 1 small bell pepper. Now, Victoria doesn't like bell peppers, so she chose red peppers for this. So I have a large red pepper. I'll be cutting that in half and just chopping that the old-fashioned way as well. Next is 1 small zucchini chopped. I prefer to use a grater, like a cheese grater, when I prepare my zucchini, so I'll be using that for this part. That's followed by 1 cup of mushrooms chopped. Now, mushrooms also have a consistency that allows them to be used in the mini processor as well. So we'll chop these up pretty fine in the mini food processor. And the next thing we'll do is prepare the vegetables by sautéing them in a very specific order, because each element sautés at a different time frame. Plus, some of these you want to saute early to get the flavor mixed in really well. So we'll start with 2 tablespoons of olive oil in this deep pan. And then the first thing we'll do is add the garlic in and let that saute for about a minute. Next, we'll add the onions and saute them for another minute as well. And once those have started to soften and become aromatic, we will add in the carrot and the pepper. And we will saute that now for another 3 minutes. And finally, we'll add the zucchini, mushrooms, oregano, and salt, 1/2 teaspoon each of the spices, and saute for another 2 minutes. And then we'll set it aside to be used as part of the filler for the lasagna. Our next task is to create the cheese filling. We'll start this by blanching 1.5 cups of spinach, baby spinach, in boiling water for about 30 seconds. Then we'll strain it and run it under cold water. Make sure you squeeze out any extra water so it doesn't get the cheese all soupy. To the blanched cheese, we're going to add the Parmesan, the ricotta, and the chopped basil to finish off the mix. Then we will stir it together until it becomes a nice consistency. So as we're putting this in the Instant Pot, one of the things that the recipe called for was a springform pan, 7-inch one to be exact. I don't have one, and up at my grocery store where they carry some home Kitchen Goods, they didn't have one. They had a 9-inch, but not a 7-inch. So we're going to make do with some aluminum pans I had. I had to actually mold it to fit inside the Instant Pot. But basically what we do is we take the Instant Pot inner pan, we put a cup and a half of water in it and a trivet at the bottom, and then rest this pan on top that's tightly sealed with aluminum foil. You'll see all that happen. But I just wanted to make note that I didn't have a springform pan, so we're just kind of working with what we do have. Alright, now on to the assembly part where we get to put everything together. First thing we're going to do is start with our pie pan that we have modified to resemble a 7-inch springform pan. Basically, I've just bent the sides up and smoothed them out. So, we're going to start out by spooning a ladleful of our marinara sauce on the bottom and spread it out, covering the base with the marinara, and then with the lasagna sheets overlapping and tearing as required. Now, these lasagna sheets are no-coat lasagna sheets, so we don't have to boil them in advance before prepping this. We just put them right into the build. Once you have the lasagna sheets in place, then you take the sauteed vegetable mix and add all of it into the pie tin and spread it evenly over the lasagna sheets. Once you have that in place, sprinkle some cheese over the top of that before adding another half a ladle of sauce and spreading that out. We're going to cover this with lasagna sheets, and then we're going to pour a 1/4 cup of water over the top of that. Next, we're going to add in all of this spinach ricotta mix, spread it out. Then we're going to add another ladle of the marinara sauce. And then we're going to cover all of that with another layer of the lasagna sheets. And finally pour another 1/4 cup of water over the top of that. Finally, we're going to add one more layer of sauce and then sprinkle any remaining cheese over the top of that. And finally, cover the entire tin with aluminum foil and seal in the sides. Alright, we're ready to get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put a cup and a half of water in the bottom of the pot. And then we have this wire rack that we're using as a trivet that we're going to place in the bottom. And then we will put the lasagna on top of that. So let's go ahead and just get everything set up, and then we'll talk about cooking. It's almost ready to start. I'm excited. All right, it's in. A bit of a struggle to get there, but it is there. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to seal this up. We're going to set it on pressure cooking for 24 minutes. So we'll put the lid on, make sure that the steam vent is sealed. Pressure cook. Alright, after it's done cooking for 24 minutes, we will let it naturally depressurize for 15 minutes, and then we'll figure out how to get it out of here. Alright, I guess we'll see you back then. Alright, it's been 24 minutes. We are now on the natural decompression. So in 15 minutes, we'll figure out how to get it out of there and be ready to serve. Alright, it's been naturally depressurizing for about 15 minutes. We're going to go and help it on its way to finish up here. And we're going to do our best to take this out. What I'm going to do is remove the inner sleeve from the pot. Then I think I'm going to try a couple pair of tongs and see if we can remove the lasagna itself cleanly. Alright, here we go. All right, some early commentary. Let's just be honest. It smells amazing. All right, let's take the sleeve out, and then we'll focus on actually getting the lasagna itself out. Okay, for the record, the tongs method, generally successful. All right, the moment of truth. Oh my God. Look at that. Now it's a little misshapen because of the pan itself. There's a lot of liquid around the sides, which the recipe said there would be, so that's not a concern. So we're going to divide this up. There's 3 of us eating this today. I'm going to divide this into thirds and serve it on a plate, and let's just see how it looks there. All right, here we go.
All right.
Instapot lasagna.
Ooh, this looks really good.
How are the noodles? Having never.
Excellent. I got a big bite of mushroom.
Yeah.
Yes. Really, really good.
All right, and we have a little side of tomatoes and olives to go with this, which is nice and festive, but we're gonna give this a try too. Visually, I'm just amazed at how good it looks coming out of there. Tastes great, really does. We get a little extra of the noodles and some cheese. It's lasagna. What can I say? It's delicious. Will it Instapot? I'm sure as shit will. All right. We'll see you later.